What's up, everybody? My name is Sammy Long. Welcome back to another edition of a Hoops Talk preview video. This time, we're going to be getting you ready for the Lakers' next game against the Sixers, who have kind of been flailing recently. I'm going to get into three things today. Talk about a Lebron quote I thought was interesting, that Philly preview I mentioned, and the first thing, JJ calling out the team. That game was tough to watch the other night. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I know Rui wasn't playing. I know Anthony Davis wasn't playing a good Memphis team that brings a lot, really seems to bring it every time. Obviously, things got chippy during the game. Josh said after the game, I don't like them. Definitely a rivalry between these two teams. Goes back to the Lakers beating them in the playoffs a few years ago on the run to the Western Conference Finals. No love lost between these teams. Obviously, LeBron hitting Ja with the too little, and then LeBron coming back, Ja coming back later and bumping him. Pretty lame, if you ask me. But it was a rough performance, and I think what was roughest about it was not the loss. I think if you would have told people, yeah, they probably were going to lose that game. They were, the Grizzlies were favored by 4.5. Again, very good team, and without two of your best players, two of your starters, obviously your best player in Anthony Davis. But the lack of fight from the bench was pretty astounding. I mean, there was nothing. I thought that would be a game, an opportunity for maybe guys like Max Christie, maybe a guy like Gabe Vincent to get going a little bit, but it just didn't happen. I guess we'll get into Cam Reddish in a minute, but these guys didn't produce. I mean, LeBron is 40 years old and has had 39 points. 39 points. Jackson Hayes, 8. D'Lo, 12. Reeves, 19. Connect, 3. Reddish had a nice 15. Got to give him some credit. He was really nice coming off the bench. He's definitely earned himself some minutes, even after JJ said it the other night about him getting more minutes, and he earned that, especially against the Grizzlies. Koloko, 2 points. Vincent, 6. Christie, 8. And Bronny, 2. LeBron can't keep doing this. I mean, it can't be LeBron scoring almost 40 points. And I understand Anthony Davis isn't there and Rui Hachimura, but it was pretty pathetic. I mean, JJ said after the game, he called out everyone. He specifically was asked why D'Angelo Russell only played 22 minutes. And he said, just level of compete, attention to detail, some of the things we've talked to him about for a couple of weeks. I love that JJ Redick's honest in these pressers. I love it. I like that he doesn't sugarcoat it. He walked out after the reporter kind of followed up with a couple questions. It's what everyone wants to know. I mean, D'Lo playing 22 minutes, that's not a recipe for success. He has to be playing because he offers stuff offensively, but it was pretty rough performance, and it has been so far this year. He hasn't really had a game where he's broken out. I guess the only game he can kind of point to is that Raptor game. He had a couple clutch threes at the end of that. But it just goes back to clearly he's not doing the things that they want him to be doing. I mean, his opening presser at the introductory press conference was him saying, I felt like I didn't bring as much as I could to last year and wanting to be better. And this early in the season, 8 games in, JJ's already talking about how his minutes are getting reduced because he's not doing the little things. We've kind of highlighted the Reeves and D'Lo defensive woes over the years. And if he's not scoring, Reeves had 19. If they're not scoring, what are they out there for? Because they really don't bring anything on that side of the ball. And teams with other excellent guards just expose the Lakers time and time again. Because they just can't, they're too slow. They can't stay with them. D'Lo's kind of too light. Reeves is too slow. And it just gets exposed over and over again. And Anthony Davis covers up a lot of that. Anthony Davis, is the great defender he is, probably bails a lot of those guys out a lot of the time when they get by him with his blocks and his defense stepping up in the paint. Again, this will change when Jared Vanderbilt's back. You're going to get a guy who's a lockdown defender, but I understand why Cam Reddish is playing. Cam Reddish is bringing it. He scored 15 points last night. No one expected Cam Reddish to score 15 points. If you would have told me Cam Reddish scores 15 points and LeBron scores 39, I would have said, oh, hell, the Lakers probably won the game. Didn't happen. And it's just it's frustrating. I know it's early. I know Lakers are 4-4. The world's not, ending. They're 500. They played a tough schedule so far. The schedule does lighten up. I'll get into that in a few minutes, but the Lakers aren't really in a position to be taking teams lightly. You saw what happened with Toronto. They got up huge by 25 at half, and they almost blew that game. They probably should have lost that game. Then the Pistons come out absolutely flat off 2 days rest and kind of get bullied by a Pistons team. So you look at the schedule and you think it opens up, but it's kind of the same thing as the last few years. The Lakers are, they play up to their competition, they play down. I guess for TV ratings, it makes sense putting them on because they make it exciting. Got to give them that, I guess, for most nights because whoever they're playing, they kind of play down or up. But it's pretty pretty embarrassing. And I love that JJ Redick's being honest. And, I wouldn't be shocked. Everyone's kind of on the trade D'Lo train. I'm not quite there yet. I really think D'Lo could contribute to this team. And D'Lo, when he's locked in, is an excellent player. But, and it's not just D'Lo. I mean, Gabe Vincent can't be getting paid what he gets paid to score 6 points. Max Christie, 8 points. A lot of this came in garbage time as well. A lot of this came when the game was out of reach. So, I mean, it's they got to have more out of the bench. It's frankly that simple. AD can't score 37 every night. Rui, I know, is struggling. Rui will be a nice add back, but the Lakers got to get help. And I was really looking forward to the season thinking Max Christie and Gabe Vincent were going to blossom. I know it's early. I don't really understand what's wrong with Gabe Vincent. I don't know why he can't really get his shot back. And Max Christie, I hope, is continuing to develop. But the Lakers clearly thought that he was at that point because he got a 4-year, $32 million contract. And he really hasn't shown up to that so far. But it is early. So the sky's not falling yet. But it was a tough game to watch, and hopefully they can figure that out. LeBron had a quote I thought was interesting. He said, obviously, when you're getting good looks and they're not going down, I think it can be demoralizing for us as a group and for individuals at times. But guys kept shooting when they were open. We just haven't gotten it from outside as a collective group. That's probably a shot at D'Lo. Probably a shot at D'Lo and Reeves and these guys, Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, kind of what we've been talking about. I mean, LeBron at some point LeBron's not innocent in all this. LeBron hasn't been great every game so far this year, but the dude is 40. And I hear both sides. I hear the side of that he's getting paid as a max player. He didn't take less money, so they need him every night to be scoring like that. But if the Lakers want to go far in the playoffs, LeBron's got to be rested. And him playing this much, having to do this much early, is not a good sign. I know everyone wants the trades to happen. Obviously, it's a long season. The Lakers the first thing has to be shooters. Connect's going to keep developing, which is going to be great. He's going to be better as the season goes along, and he's been good so far. But that's got to be something. And that's why the D'Lo thing, I think, is so frustrating. Because you look at a D'Angelo Russell and you go, well, he can't score. He doesn't bring on the defensive end, but he can score and he can hit threes. And it just hasn't been there. I mean, there was a video that went viral, D'Lo getting his shot blocked the other night, and JJ Redick literally jumping up and down in his seat. He was so mad. Because it's kind of unexplainable. I don't know what it is. I guess the one thing we can point to is that he started really slow last year and then went on an absolute tear the last 3 months. But, don't really know what else to say. They got to start hitting shots, or other people are going to come in who are going to hit shots, because the Lakers, obviously are in the twilight of LeBron's career. You wonder what's going to happen with Anthony Davis when LeBron retires, if he's kind of committed to the team, if he's going to want to go somewhere else. The Lakers got to really get some young talent around him who can hit shots. And I think Connect's a step in the right direction, because I think he's going to be really good. But these guys got to hit shots, and hopefully they will. So moving on to Philly, we're going to flush that last game. Frustrating for all of us Laker fans. But, hey, they're 4-4 in the year. They were 2-10 before a couple seasons ago, and they ended up making the playoffs. So, they're in a loaded Western Conference. They would actually be like the 3 seed right now in the East. So it shows how crazy kind of the balance is in the NBA. But in Philly, is a team that has really been one of those teams struggling. They're 1-6 on the year. Embiid has not played. He's been kind of going back and forth. He got into it with the city of Philadelphia, talking about how I've done enough for this blanking city. When people kind of question his knee injuries and how hurt he was. Tyrese Maxey, literally last night against the Clippers, got hurt. He's going to be out for multiple weeks. That's not a good sign for him. And that team. Tyrese Maxey's a fun player to watch. Tyrese Maxey really is. It's cool to see him blossom over the years. He's great. I think he's one of the best young players in this game. So they're going to rely on Paul George. Paul George is their guy. He just came back. I scored 15 points the other night. And was against the Clippers. That was kind of he had some interesting comments about how he said it was stupid that they were booing him. I don't really understand what Paul George is crying about. I mean, I'm not a Clipper fan. I don't like the Clippers at all. The Laker fans don't like him. I don't like him because he said he was going to come to LA or take a meeting before Magic Johnson could even sit down with him. He's at a party with Russell Westbrook celebrating the return to OKC, and he leaves the Clippers, and his kind of excuse was, well, it was free agency and this is a better setup for my family. And don't get me wrong, I can't stand the Clippers, but I don't blame him for booing him. So I'm sure he'll get booed again by Laker fans, which will be pretty funny. But this team's pretty decimated with injuries. This team was really built to have their big three, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George, and then kind of fill in the gaps around them. There's a lot of veterans, Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond on the team. So guys that are serviceable that you're probably not, you wouldn't be looking to play right now. You're kind of looking to add in around the big three, and they obviously don't have that. They only have one of them right now. Kelly Oubre is a really nice player, out of Kansas. Had a really nice career for himself. Caleb Martin is nice. They'll be starting. The young guys on the team, Jared McCain and Ricky Council, those guys are good out of Duke and Arkansas. They're going to take some time, not playing a ton right now, but Philly said to go pretty deep on their bench so far because of all the injuries and kind of figuring out those lineups. But listen, the Lakers should win the game. 80's probable, likely going to play tomorrow night. But, the Lakers aren't really in a position to be taking people lightly. They looking at the schedule coming up, you have the Raptors at home after Philly. We know how tough they were on the road. They're probably going to want to get back. The Grizzlies at home. I expect the Lakers to come out firing, especially after all the stuff they were kind of talking after the game. Spurs away. This is an NBA Cup game. Pelicans away. Jazz home. NBA Cup game. And Magic home. So, we'll have previews for all those videos. Those are a lot of those games the Lakers should be favored in. But, people have kind of talked about how the Lakers schedule usually starts out pretty tough because they're playing in primetime games and NBA is trying to get them in front of national audiences because it's the Lakers. So they're playing a tough schedule, and they did open with a pretty tough schedule. But Lakers got to win these games. This is time to go on a little run. Listen, you had the 3-0 start, really bad road trip, 1-4. It's time to kind of get it back. It starts with Philly. I think they should beat Philly. I think they will respond. But, hey, we'll figure it out. Hopefully we're having a more positive video on the next one out for the Raptor game on Sunday. So I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for tuning in, and go Lakers. Let's start this thing back up again. Thank you.